All right, so Americans are frustrated about what they're about to do next. And before I even begin with this video, I just want to say that I understand that we all have different points of view. I get that. All I want to do is inform you guys about what's happening right now because it's bound to impact you and pretty much everybody you know. Within just the last few years, we've had inflation put a hole in our wallets. We've seen supply shortages on different fronts. We've seen the United States pulled in all different directions when it comes to conflicts overseas with the likes of the Ukraine, Israel, and many others. But something's now happening here at home that needs our attention. Something that's happened before, and again, it's happening on an election year. In this video, I'm going to show you why I believe the increased tracking and reporting of illness cases nationwide will lead to concerns over health data privacy and personal tracking. And as respiratory illnesses rise, mask mandates return, igniting debates over personal freedoms, public health sparking protests, and a rise in civil disobedience. Now, if you guys appreciate the news updates, definitely hit the like button for the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you own a home, make sure your home is protected. Get your free home warranty quote. There's a link in the description down below this video. It only takes about 10 seconds.
The latest COVID variant is now driving nearly half of all COVID infections, according to the CDC.
Tia's talking about JN1. It's prompted some major health systems across the nation to bring back mask mandates. Steve Harrigan takes a closer look.
The COVID pandemic may be over, but a new Omicron subvariant is driving up cases across the country. According to the CDC, JN1 makes up about half of new COVID infections in the U.S., largely in the Northeast. That's up from 7% in late November. Public health officials say there is no indication the variant causes more severe disease than other strains, but with holiday gatherings and travel at peak levels, it could make people more vulnerable to the virus.
You create sort of this perfect environment where people can share and have less resistance to things they normally would potentially not get.
As COVID spreads, major health systems in Massachusetts and Wisconsin and other states are bringing back mask requirements in some locations.
So here's the thing, guys. It's not just C19, okay? There's other respiratory illnesses that are driving up more people in the hospitals, or at the very least, just keeping them at home. So of course there's flu, and then there's the RSV, right? Now, both of them have very similar symptoms to that of the new C19 variant. Is it cause for much concern? Well, it really depends on your symptoms, although from what I've seen, most of them seem to be pretty mild. However, and this is the important factor to note in all of this, right? Is that we're being told that this is something that we need to show more concern on. We've heard it from the CDC, especially with them pushing to raise vaccination rates, as well as the World Health Organization saying that this new C19 variant is a variant of interest. Now, my question to you guys is this. Do you believe what these organizations are telling you about these illnesses? Just comment a quick yes or no down below, because I've heard some analysts basically saying that the trust, and this is when it comes to respiratory illnesses, but the trust in some of these organizations has definitely waned. Now, I wonder why that is, right? Now, while you guys do that, definitely don't forget to hit the like button for the video, and of course, subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate that, guys. So getting back on topic, look at what we've been seeing recently. More and more hospitals around the country are issuing a return to mask mandates, and I guess, that's for safety and well-being of their staff, as well as people who are getting checked in with, pretty much any kind of illnesses. But the issue is now that there's this huge uptick in cases. And I mean, look at the map for the end of 2023. Just look at how colorful it is, right? And mind you, this is not a good sign. So the darker colors are showing a very high level of influenza activity in those states. In fact, they outnumber the states that are seeing minimal to low cases. Now, these numbers are also based on people reporting to the healthcare facility with symptoms likened to a flu, which is a fever plus a cough or a sore throat. Now, going by the symptoms though, you and I know that it can also be COVID or RSV. So how do those other states avoid these illnesses? Well, these states are being reported to having more people who are trying to get better at home, so their numbers are not being reported at all. How's that for some untrustworthy data, huh? And believe it or not, more and more Americans are pretty much doing the same now, because not everybody's going to be going to the hospital just because they don't feel well, or if they're experiencing flu-like symptoms. More of us are opting to just kind of get some rest at home, assess if it's something that needs a more thorough medical checkup. Pretty much, more times than not, we just tend to figure out that, whatever we have, whether it's RSV, the flu, or C19, but again, these are mostly based off milder symptoms.
Over the past few years, we've been focused on ways to stay healthy and avoid infectious respiratory diseases. Hand washing, covering coughs, and staying home when sick has become the norm to prevent illness. The most common cause of lower respiratory infections, respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, is easily spread from person to person through close contact with someone who is infected. While most adults will develop mild symptoms similar to a common cold, RSV can be severe and even life-threatening in some adults, including people that are 65 and older or are living with chronic lung disease, chronic heart disease, or living with weakened immune systems. More than 60,000 adults in the United States are hospitalized due to RSV every year. In some cases, the illness worsens, causing a lung infection or pneumonia. It can also cause worsening of chronic conditions like asthma, COPD, or congestive heart failure. And some people may even die from these complications.
But you might be wondering, then what's the problem, Ron, right? You're telling us that even though the cases are rising, Americans are pretty much able to fight it off. Yes, although mild cases can be tough to fight. If you, I don't know, come in contact with somebody who has like comorbidities, right? Now, in that case, then you should probably try and steer away from those people if you don't feel well. Now, another concern that has some Americans pissed is the possibility of establishments placing mask mandates themselves. Now, we saw it in the past few years where people were basically told straight up, wear a mask or get the bleep out, right? These businesses, these business owners, they have the right to limit who they serve, right? I mean, it's their company, it's their building. I mean, don't get it twisted. But at the same time, if patrons, customers, people like you who may stop going to these places, then that's on them. We all have our rights. However, during the health crisis, many of these businesses that lost customers, they got handouts from the federal government. I think you see where I'm going with this, right? What's that saying again? The rich keep getting richer and the poor, well, I think you guys know the rest.
While millions of Americans were struggling to pay rent and feed their families during the pandemic, many of the world's richest got even richer. A recent wealth report shows 5 million people became millionaires in 2020 alone. And the 10 richest people in the world doubled their wealth in the first 2 years of the pandemic. Their collective bank accounts grew at an average rate of $1.3 billion a day by investing in the recovering stock market and in real estate. And large corporations legally abused government programs. $349 billion was allotted to protect small businesses, but $243 billion of those funds were snatched up by publicly traded corporations. That's about 70% of all small business relief. And at least 75 U.S. lawmakers bought and sold stock in companies that make COVID vaccines, treatments, or tests, some of them making trades ahead of major policy announcements that led to big payouts. Others illegally got rich.
This is what happened. Some businesses shunned customers, and in return, they got handouts from the federal government. And again, as you heard, billionaires also made billions of dollars a day, while Americans across the nation struggle to put food on the table. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and ask you guys this one time. Do you think that we should be concerned about this kind of trend happening yet again, especially as we're hearing all this talk regarding mandates? Or is this something that will just pretty much blow over as we go along 2024? Make sure you guys let me know down in the comment section down below. I just want to thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for subscribing and liking the video, and I'll see you on the next one.